Good morning. Good morning to everybody. How are you today? I'm Gregory Salo, and I'm here to share with you basically all the features and benefits of Synergy Gel for success. One of the things we're going to be covering is basically multiple topics. The components you're going to be working with, overlays, sculptured nails, filing. We're going to be talking about one color application. We're going to be talking about smile lines. Throughout the process, we have one of my associates who is actually going to be answering questions. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask, and that way I'll be able to answer with the best of my knowledge. We are going to be working on the Young Nails nail trainer. Awesome, basically, tool for you to practice your sculpture gel or overlay nails. One of the things I wanted to share with you is that we equip our hands with the extended fingers. Now, as you can see, the extended fingers on the back end have been clipped. So what we normally do, they come with a really big, thick cuticle area, and I'm going to show you. Basically, they look like this. One of the things that you can do to actually make it easier is by clipping away the very back end of the plastic and filing it away just like this. And what that is going to do, it's going to create a really tight cuticle area. When you snap them into the fingers, you don't want to snap them one time because they will pop off when you file. What you want to be able to do is snap them in so that you get at least 2 to 3 solid clicks. You'll notice that the cuticle area is going to be perfect, and no matter how hard I flick at this nail, it's not going to pop off. This is going to allow you to do basically or practice multiple services without having any issues at all. Okay, so let's get right to it. The first thing we're going to do is use our magic wand, and we're going to push our cuticles back. Don't worry about this end. This end of the magic wand is going to be used for actually separating the form from the nail when we're sculpting the nail. You know, I remember when I was in school, my instructor taught me to prepare the nail with the hand file. Preparing a nail with the hand file is like listening to an 8-track recorder, right? So for those of you who don't know what an 8-track recorder is, look it up, right? They're way whack, and honestly, they don't exist for a reason. We want to be able to use basically the right tool, and this is an electric file. This is not a drill. We don't use drills, right? If you want to drill, you can go to a hardware store and get yourself a block of wood and a bucket of screws, and you can practice drilling all day long. We use an electric file to protect our most important assets, and those assets are our wrists, our elbows, our shoulders, our back. It's our body. And what we need to understand is that when you're grinding it out in the salon 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, you have to be able to protect your body, and in order to do that, you have to use your proper tools. Remember, right, what my trademark saying is. It's not the tools that do damage, it is the fools that do damage. Right? I hear it all the time, like, those acrylics damage my nail, those gels damage my nail. No, the nail technician working on you damaged your nail. So if you're getting damage, it's not because of product, it's because of bad maintenance. Okay, so let's get right to it. When we're preparing the natural nail, we need to make sure, again, we're using gentle pressure. One of the things I like to demonstrate is if we're using a sanding band, you want to be able to tickle. Coochie, coochie, coo, right? You want to be able to tickle away the shine from the natural nail. Notice my grip. I don't hold the nail like this because I get a lot of pressure built up into my hand. What I want to be able to do is use the overgrip position, right? Overgrip position and tickle away. I don't want to create pressure. Notice how quickly I will be able to remove the shine from the surface. Look at that. Quickly around the cuticle area, down through the nail, donezo. I mean, seriously. If you're spending 15 to 20 minutes on preparing the natural nail, Houston, we have a problem, okay? We do not need to spend no more than basically less than 10 minutes for thorough and very effective prep. You are going to use swipe to cleanse the surface of the nail, to remove not only the dust from the surface, oils and contaminants, and as you can see, right, I get a nice chalky surface. It balances the pH level, and it basically sets you up for the greatest product ever invented, Protein Bond. Protein Bond is basically your primer replacement. This is what you're going to use on all 10 fingers, and then after you're done doing the 10th nail, you're going to come back and you're going to do one more coat from cuticle to free edge, right? 2 coats, and as you can see, it leaves a nice wet surface. Once it is dry, right, it is going to stay tacky. It acts like a double-sided sticky tape, right? It is going to bond to the protein layer of the natural nail and leave a nice sticky layer for whatever. Back up? Okay. Okay, so once we are done actually preparing the natural nail, we are now ready for our application. Ramon.
It should be. It might be on maintenance. It should be coming up.
Okay. We are now going to take base, and again, it's really important to understand when you're actually working with gels that you're working with a brush that's built like this. So whether you're working with Kolinsky or you're actually going to be working with synthetic, right? Whether you're working with Kolinsky or you're going to be working with a synthetic material, right? You have to understand that you need, again, you're working with something that's flat. I am not going to pick up a large amount. What I want to be able to do is use the tip of my brush. I want to be able to pull back. You see how I got this little tail? Watch this. Tap, tap, tap. Bam. I have it on one side of my brush. I don't have it circled around the whole entire surface. This is going to allow me to apply a really nice even coat from cuticle to free edge. From cuticle to free edge, right? Just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get it right inside the UV light. For those of you guys, right, who are using LED, okay? For those of you guys who are using LED throughout your whole surface, I'm going to give you guys a really, really cool trick. We manufacture this product called Manicure in a Jar, okay? Now, Manicure in a Jar is awesome because it is soft gel. If you want to convert the whole entire system to just fully LED, all you need to do is replace your base gel with this, okay? Just this, okay? So again, some of you guys only have LEDs, no problem. Some of you guys have UV, no problem. I want to make sure that you guys are set to work with all platforms. How long does the hand have to be inside the light? As long as it takes you to do the other hand, then you rotate. All right, so again, it's been inside the light. I want to make sure that we actually have everything is basically applied, sticky, ready to go. The first product I'm going to work with, right, is this. This is concealer, excuse me, this is concealer pink. This is the ultimate. For me, it was really important to be able to get gel to work like acrylic. So I wanted to make sure, first of all, we were going to work with something that was non-leveling. I could leave this jar on its side all day long, and it's going to look like this. Now, again, picking up something that's non-leveling, right, you have to scoop it out. I'm going to show you guys another really, really cool trick. See this? Porcelain tile. This is awesome because what I'm going to use the porcelain tile for is my brush cleaner. See this? I'm going to wipe it on the tile. It actually is a lot better than you taking wipes and having to go like this every single time when you're working. It is a nightmare of a situation. For you to pick up a nice amount of gel and to be able to just wipe your brush clean just like that, that is dope. That is what you want so that basically you have a clean brush basically in between builders or finishing gels. Okay, so again, I want to be able to pick up a large enough pearl to cover a certain amount of area. For me, when I'm working with beginners, and for the beginners out there, get your overlays down first. Master the overlay. The overlay is what is going to get you to the next level. So I am going to take a nice, healthy amount. Look at this. One side, tap, 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 bam. As you can see, right, I have it on one side of my brush. I am going to set it right down to the cuticle area, and notice, I am going to work around the cuticle area, see that? I'm going to work around this side, making sure that it's going to be nice and tight. Perfect, my cuticle area is done. Take a look at this. Float, 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 right? It's gonna sound like a seal. Float, 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 all the way down. And what I wanna be able to do is keep contact all the way through, all the way through, all the way through. Swing, swing. Keep contact all the way through to the very, very end. Voila. Just like that. Right? I am not going to pick up a pearl, right, and go like this. Right? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to swing in really, really, really vicious circles because that's probably going to create like problems, bubbles. Right? It's not going to give you basically a nice, easy application. Notice one thing. If I'm looking at the nail, I'm looking at the side, oh, you know what, a little bit flat on that end, no problem. You could always take a little bit more gel, and as you can see, I could use the tip of my brush. I could keep really, really light contact all the way through, right, so that I can build out a really, really nice upper arch. Perfect. Okay, now, how do you cure the gels without your clients feeling like you're starting a campfire on their fingernail, right? What we want to be able to do if you're working in front of a UV light, excuse my arm, take a look at this. I'm going to keep it in front of the light, okay? How long do I do this for, right? About a minute, okay? No problem. Keep it in front of the light for up to a minute, and then you can go inside the light without your customer screaming bloody murder. You want to be able to go inside the light, again, comfortably. You want to be able to go inside the light without any issues at all. So, some of you are probably saying, yo, Greg, how do you do the same thing with LED? Right? Let me show you, right? So we've got this really, really dynamite, right, mini LED. Thing is so wicked. So it depends. Someone want to know where the apex is. You have to remember, right, if I'm working on a nail that's this long, right? If I'm working on a nail that's this long, my apex, my upper arch is going to be pretty much right through here, right? But it's not just here, it's also through here, here and here. The longer the nail, the longer the free edge, right? Doesn't mean the apex comes out. The apex still has to stay relatively close to the natural nail, because if there's more pressure on the free edge, I need more product towards the back end so that it doesn't break. Okay, so if I want to cure, right, the product without it burning, I'm going to show you guys this really, really cool trick. I can actually take 2 jars. I can keep my customer's hands dead flat. Take a look at this. You see the LED? Look at that, right? The distance between the top and bottom, right? The distance between the top and the bottom is going to allow me to cure the product without frying my customer's fingers. If I was to take this light and drop it right on top of my customer's hands just like this, dude, you'd be tripping out right now, right? What I want to be able to do is keep a little bit of distance. And again, the nice thing about this light is it's a 30, right? It's a 1-minute cycle. So I can freeze it for a minute, and then after the minute, I can drop it right on top and cure it out for the full minute, and we're done. That is the best part about this. So let's understand, right?
Someone would like to know what's the best for a gel overlay that is hard as acrylic.
So the question was, what gel is the best for an overlay, right? That's as hard as acrylic. Your choice. I'm going to show you. You can use Build, right? You could use Build, which is a self-leveling gel. You could use Pink Sculptor, right? Which is non-leveling, right? Non-leveling, and actually has that really beautiful new tone. If you like to work with a clear gel that doesn't move, we have Clear Sculptor. All of our builder gels in our line is going to cure, not just hard as acrylic, is going to give you the same strength as acrylic, right? So all of them do. Okay. Let's go ahead, after we are done curing the nail out. Once you are done, you have a tacky layer. What we want to be able to do, is we want to be able to use swipe, and I'm going to remove the tacky layer from the surface. Okay, as you can see, right, the nail is done. It is as hard as a rock. You know, one of the things I want to show you guys, which is really, really important, before I actually get into filing, I'm going to show you something really, really cool. I'm actually going to take a really huge amount of Pink Sculptor, right? I'm going to set that down. Actually, I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm going to pile it on. I want to show you guys something that is going to blow you away, okay? Let's go ahead and just heap this onto a regular nail form, okay? Watch this. I'm actually going to take an LED, and I'm going to cure this for 1 minute in an LED, right? Because before we actually file this into shape, I want to be able to address not just strength, I want to be able to address flexibility. You have to remember, it does not matter what you work with. Acrylic, gel. Strength has nothing to do with the material. Strength has everything to do with proper structure. Structure has everything to do with whether that nail is going to break, right? Has everything to do with whether it's going to last months. Watch this. I'm going to wipe off the tacky layer. I'm going to show you guys something crazy. This is cured all the way through. Look at this. I am trying, I'm not joking, I am trying to bend this as hard as I am pushing down on this product. You can see the flexibility before it actually cracks. I had to use all of my strength to basically break that gel nail. I mean, literally all my strength. Okay, so once we are actually done building the nail, I'm going to explain to you guys how to file it into perfection. I am not going to use a sanding band. if I use a sanding band, it is going to generate heat and kick up dust everywhere. I am going to use what I invented, right? And that is the safety bit, right? I wanted to originally call it the Greg bit because it's bald like my head, but obviously that would not fly. All right, so what we're going to do, we are going to put it on, and I'm going to show you guys. Can you zoom out? I'm going to show them how we're going to work this. I am not going to hold the hand like this. When you hold the hand like this, you always end up with cramping here. You have to learn to position your hand with an overgrip position. Notice that my wrist this is not overgrip. This is a chicken grip, okay? And this is an uncomfortable position. An overgrip position is when your wrists are flat on the table so that you can actually look at the side profile. And you notice that my thumb is actually positioned on one side of the client's hand, just like my finger is on this side. One of the things you're going to notice is that when I file, the only thing I need to do is file the upper arch. I'm not going like this. Okay? When I file from side to side, it does nothing, right? What it sets me up for is this. I don't want to go around the world. That's not what I want to do. If I am right-handed, I work in forward and I pull in one direction all the way towards myself. If I'm looking down the barrel of the nail, I want to be able to pull in one direction all the way through so that I have a nice C-curve. I have a nice C-curve from side to side. If I'm working around the cuticle area, I want to be able to work in one direction, all the way around. Once I am done filing the nail in the I formation, all I have to do is file all the way through, just like this. For those of you guys who are just getting into this business, I want to explain something to you. We do a 1-week course every month called OWC. Like, for those of you who want to be challenged, for those of you who want to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, come out for a week, and honestly, we will change your life forever. Okay.
We have several.
Okay, we have several questions.
First of all, what is stronger, acrylic or gel?
So, again, the question was, what's stronger, acrylic or gel? They're both as strong. They're both, I would say gel is a little bit more flexible, right? And acrylic has a little bit more like rigidness to it. But again, everything depends on how you structure, right? Build the structure of the nail. That is what's going to determine strength. I can build my gels super thin and get them to last 2 weeks without any cracking or breaking. So it really depends on basically, I'm gonna re-answer the question, right? What would I choose for a bitten nail? I would always choose acrylic for a nail biter over gel 9 times out of 10. Next question.
How can they add gel color to the gel? And can they do a gel on the color on top of the nail?
So how can you add color to gel? And how could you add gel to the top of this? So if I was going to add color to the top of this, I would use gel polish, or I would use a gel paint. So again, after I'm done file finishing, let me answer that question real fast. If I was going to add gel color to the surface of this, it's really, really easy, right? Remember one thing, you have to, no matter what you do, you have to add protein bond to the surface of your enhancement before you do any type of either not just gel polish, but also basically color gel, or if you were going to use a gel top coat. So I'm going to show you, right? If I was using a gel color, right? I'm going to use Neon 101, And if you guys can actually see, take a look at the color, right? If I was adding color to the surface of my enhancement, I would skip the base gel. I would do protein bond, and I would go directly to the gel polish color, right? Now, if I was going to mix color into gel, it really depends on what you want to be able to mix. And it also depends on what kind of gel you are going to use. First thing I have to be able to do, right, I'm going to use build, right? I'm going to use build. And I'm going to actually, right, I'm going to put a nice healthy amount onto my tile. I'm going to put a nice healthy amount. And like, what color do you want? What color does she want? Let's just go ahead and pick pink. Okay? Let's go ahead and pick pink. So let's make a custom color. I'm going to take fuchsia. I'm going to take pinky. And I'm going to take a little bit of high tide and a little bit of rock star. And you know what, for the heck of it, let's just add some crush. I'm going to take all 5 of those colors and I'm going to make a color, right? So when you guys are mixing glitter into gel, take a look, right, how much I'm going to pour onto the surface. I'm going to cover the whole entire surface. I'm going to cake the whole entire surface with pinky. I'm going to cake the whole entire surface. And again, enough to cover the whole entire surface. I'm going to apply a little bit of rock star. Tide right on top with a little dash. And then what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to push the glitter into the gel. And again, what this is going to do is it's actually going to start working out to a really nice, rich mix. If it's too thick, you could always add a little bit more, but take a look at this. This is wicked. Think about it as you're putting your jam on your toast, right? What I want to be able to do, or butter on toast, right? All I want to be able to do is just kind of push it out, as thin as I have this. Take a look at how intense that glitter mix is. Okay? I can use the edge of my spatula to scrape it all up, and I'm left with this really wonderful custom color.
People that are having problems with lifting, they say they prep properly and use 2 coats of protein bond every day, but they're still getting pocket lifting.
So you have to remember, like one of the questions is, Greg, I'm prepping properly, and I'm getting pocket lifting. So pocket lifting is a pressure pocket, and it usually doesn't happen here. It happens here. Pressure pockets happen. You could have the most invincible product in the world, which Young Nails is, but pressure pockets happen because we're using basically safe materials, soft materials that, again, if there is too much pressure from regular or active lifestyle, they're going to pop. You have to have good maintenance skills to be able to remove those pockets and reapply them so that you don't see any imperfections at all. That is really, really the key. Another thing could be your light. What could create pocket lifting is basically a product that's not curing well. So for those of you guys, again, who are working with 9-watt bulbs, your 9-watt bulbs do not last forever. Your 9-watt bulbs will probably give you, I would say, if you're using them every single day, 6 to 7 hours a day, you have about 3 months of life, right? An LED, I understand that people say you have 50,000 hours, but again, like, depending on the LED or the quality of the LED, it could be anywhere from 20 to 50,000 hours, depending. And if your lights aren't good, you're not getting your gel cured well enough.
We have one person that wants to know how to get a good C curve, and then another one that has a client that has severe C curve, and she has problems getting product to stick.
Okay, so is she having problems putting forms on? Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to be able to get a really, really good C curve, one of the things we have to do is we have to be able to sculpt the nail, right? We have to be able to sculpt the nail so that you have, and you're going to be able to build the nail. Gel's a little bit different because we can't pinch. But what you can do is you can structure the free edge so that you have great shape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clip away my tip just like this. I am going to file, right? I'm going to file away my free edge. I'm going to show you guys something really, really cool, right? And you can see I have a very, very small tip that I'm going to be working with. I am going to use my arbor band, right? Going to be using my arbor band to gently remove the shine from the surface of the nail. Tickle, tickle, tickle all the way through, very quick. I'm going to use swipe. I'm going to use swipe to dust away the surface, okay? We're going to allow that to set. I'm going to use protein bond. What we're going to do is we're going to do 2 coats. Going to 1 coat through all 10 fingernails. We're going to allow that to sit, right? We're going to do a 2nd coat all the way through. Do not, one of the things I want to say, do not apply protein bond wet and then go into application. You have to give protein bond an opportunity to dry, right? So as you can see how wet it is right now, you see all, I can see on the screen, basically it looks really, really wet through this area right here. Give it a minute, right? Right? Give it anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, and actually you can start to see, take a look at the front end, right? Look at this area right here. Actually, everything is actually starting to basically dry out. Dry out and leave a nice tacky layer for you to do your application. Okay, now we are ready. You can see the difference now, actually just letting it sit for probably like 20 seconds. Okay, when we do sculptured nails, right, to get a really good C curve, and I'm going to do it with square, right, so that you can see. I want to be able, first of all, to use my nail form. And you know what? We're going to assume that our client has really deep natural C curves already. And you're having a problem, this is going to answer the question for that individual who's having problems putting forms on person with really deep C curves. Let me show you my trick. You're going to take this end, right? This end. You're going to take your scissors. You're going to clip it straight across. You're going to take this and you're going to apply it right here, just like this, okay? Now, right, when I actually pre-pinch my tips, right, this platform right here, you can see this. Take a look at how deep I'll be able to get it when I actually pinch it. Look at that right there. This is going to slide under anyone's fingernail who has really deep C curves. This is how you do it right here. This will also fit a nail biter's finger as well.
Person wants to know why the gel slips under that nail form.
If the gel is slipping underneath the nail form, again, I can't see your work, but my assumption is that the form is not on properly when it's applied to the finger. So what you can do is send me a pic of your form application so that I could see it, and then that way I could respond and help you a little bit better. But I want to show you guys something really crazy. Take a look at this, right? Look at this. I'm basically touching, right? I'm touching. Now, you'll notice as I come up, right, one of the things for me to get a really nice C curve, I can actually pinch right here. Look at this. I can actually over pinch right to the very front of the nail. Where I want to be able to stick is at the side of the nail. Now you'll notice, right, how pinched this is. I'm actually pinched all the way to the very end here, right? That way I'm going to have a deeper C curve from this point all the way out to the front end. I'm going to show you guys something crazy. Can you zoom out? I'm going to show you guys something crazy. What really makes our nail forms unique is not the shape. They are a standard salon form. What really makes our forms absolutely amazing is this, is they are the stickiest forms in the world. And when you put your forms on, the only area that you need to be focusing on is right here underneath. Don't worry about sealing the top. Take a look at this, right? I'm gonna zoom out, show you guys something crazy. I can, seriously, I can shake my hand as hard as I want, right? As hard as I want, and the form is going nowhere at all. That right there is insurance. The client basically doesn't lose the form while you're working. Okay, so let's go back, right? Let's go back to actually building out that really, really nice C-curve. And one of the things we're gonna work with is we're gonna work with concealer pink. Notice that I'm actually going to be building the tip before I do the base gel. And the reason why I want to be able to do this, I'm going to take my concealer pink, I'm going to basically get it right up to the corner, attach. I'm going to get it right up to the corner, attach, and then lightly start to feather it down towards the free edge, okay? Towards the free edge. I'm not concerned whether it's going to be perfect. I'm concerned whether I have a nice flat platform to work off of. So as you can see, I have a really, really nice extension. I'm going to use my LED light. I'm going to bring it right over the top just like this, okay? The nice thing about the LED, it's going to cure it fast. The nice thing about this light, it's portable. So look at this. I can actually keep it literally sitting 4 inches above the nail, and it's still going to cure the gel extremely well. Okay, so look at this. I didn't even need, right? This is dry. The best part about this now, right? Best part about this now, I can actually take the base gel, right? Since we're using LED, I'm going to use manicure in a jar, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush. I'm going to use manicure in a jar, and I'm going to brush a really thin layer. I'm not building anything. Some of you are probably like, well, Greg, I mean, this is soft gel. How are you doing that? The reason why I know is because we do it and it works. It is salon tested. It is bulletproof. It is absolutely amazing. Again, the best part about using manicure in a jar as your foundation layer, it not only cures really well in the LED, but it actually is absolutely amazing when it actually comes to lifting. If you guys have problems, right, also with clients who are lifters, this product is going to help tremendously. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm actually... Manicure is basically our original soft gel, right? Our soft gel in a jar. It is this version in a jar, and it's only one product, and it's available basically as a brush on. It is fantastic. If you have clients that want to basically get their natural nails to grow, this is the ultimate product for it right here. Okay, watch this. I'm going to take my magic wand. I'm going to pre-pinch the surface. You see this end right here? Watch this. I'm going to slide it underneath. I'm going to slide it underneath. Watch this. I'm actually able to remove the form. Take a look at how much C-curve I actually have. And you have to remember one thing. I am working, right? I am working on a plastic hand. I have zero flexibility here. But because I was actually able to pinch my form, right? Because I was actually able to pinch my form really tight up to this point, I was actually able to get that C-curve built out all the way to the end. Now what we can do, right? I can actually take, right? I mean, it depends on what you want to be able to do. But if I was actually going to take my glitter that we created earlier, right? watch this. I'm actually going to set a really, really nice amount just right up to the line of demarcation, right to the line of demarcation, as thick as it is, okay? Just like that. I'm going to wipe off the excess from my brush, and what I want to be able to do is lightly fade it. See this? Look at that. I can lightly fade it into the free edge, and then I could do the same thing up above. I could just lightly fade it into the body with the tip. All right? Sick.
Why can't you use manicure in a pot, but not manicure base in the?
It's a totally different consistency. The manicure someone asked why can you use the manicure in the jar and you can't use the manicure in a bottle. The manicure in a bottle was designed to basically soak off. It was designed as a much thinner to basically so that you could brush on. You can't use a polished brush to brush this on. And it's a much thicker consistency, so it's not going to shrink back. It's going to stay in place when you actually brush it onto the nail. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to cure this. Again, freeze cure inside the LED. Any other questions?
What can we put underneath the nail to keep the nail smooth and shiny on a sculpted nail?
What can they put?
What can we do to keep the nail shiny and smooth underneath the nail?
Someone wanted to know what you could actually brush on underneath the natural nail to keep it smooth and shiny. I mean, honestly, you have to remember one thing. Whatever you brush gel-wise underneath, you have to wipe off the tacky layer. So any gel, I mean, one of the easiest gels to be able to put on is probably our manicure base, right, in a bottle. You could brush a really thin layer underneath and then wipe off that dispersion layer so that you actually have a smooth surface. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use Build. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take Build, I'm actually going to use Build to come through, and again, take a look at my contact. I'm not going like this, right? I'm not going in circles. I'm keeping basically contact, and I'm using really long and wide, right? If I need a little bit more, I can actually come in, grip a little bit more, and work the product all the way down past the glitter onto the nail, keeping contact, being basically, I don't want to be too aggressive because I don't want to inject any bubbles into the surface. But what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to work the product all the way through with a really, really light contact. Voila, just like that, okay? Now again, depending on what you're going to be doing, if I'm using a UV light, if I'm using a UV light, I want to be able to keep it in front of the light, again, for up to a minute before I actually go inside the light and cure it for a full 2.
Can you use acrylic and gel together?
Yes, you can. Someone just asked, can you use acrylic and gel together? The answer is yes. If, for example, you have someone who has bitten nails, they come in, right? The best part about acrylic is you could actually use acrylic to pinch the natural nails so that the nails don't grow wide, they actually grow straight. You can use acrylic to create the tip, and then you could fill the body with gel. There are hybrid nails that are being done right now where the tips are basically, the body is sculpted, right? The body is sculpted in reverse application, and then the tips are actually formed in gel to give it that ice or glass look. It works, and it works really, really well.
Can you fill gel on the acrylic?
Yes, so Tracy just asked, someone asked, basically, can you fill basically acrylic with gel? Was that the question? The answer is yes, you can. 100%. You can fill acrylic with gel. Okay, so let me go ahead and accelerate. Yep, one more question.
Are you still recommending to electric file soft gel versus soaking on?
So, like, someone said, do you still recommend electric filing soft gel than soaking off? My answer to that is this. If you are proficient with your electric file, where you have confidence, where you know how to remove product without doing damage to the natural nail, then my answer is yes, use your electric file because it's way faster. If you don't have the confidence, let's say you have the confidence to file the majority off and get close, then when you get close enough, soak the rest of it off. Remember, the least amount of product, the easier it soaks off. So if you do have the skills to basically, again, file it off without doing damage, 100%. If you do have the maintenance skills to basically file it down close enough without touching the natural nail where there is residue, then use basically cotton foil and some acetone and go ahead and remove that safely that way. Okay, once we are actually done curing out the product, I'm going to use swipe. I'm actually going to wipe off, right? Wipe off the dispersion layer from the surface, and we're going to file this into shape. One of the things, right, there's a huge misunderstanding about filing. There is a 5-point filing process. I'm going to show you guys here. Notice when you guys are actually looking from this platform, when I am filing, you see my blue line, right? That line is important because I'm not filing it like this. The only thing I am looking at when I am filing it straight is that blue line. I am doing the same thing on the opposite side. I'm trying to keep it dead straight so that it almost puts a dust line up onto the natural nail. Okay? So 1, 2, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to file the nail straight. I'm going to curve it just a hair because I love to taper my nails. If you look at the side profile, tapers it. Look at the side profile. Do you see all that stuff hanging from the side? Okay? The biggest mistake that nail technicians make when they file this side is they do this. They line their file up like this, and they start to pull in like this, and they start to pull in like this. That is incorrect. I want you to turn the hand to the side just like this. I want you to line your hand file at the lowest point. And then I want you to file and keep filing until your file reaches the corner and you have perfectly razor sharp lower arches that go out to the side. You will notice that if you start at the lowest point and file up, zoom out, take a look at the file, it is parallel to the finger. Do you see that? Parallel. Lines up perfectly to the finger. So I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to turn the hand to the side. I'm going to line it at the lowest point. I'm going to file it until I reach that corner. Man, look at that. Absolutely perfect. Perfect. And you know what? Your clients will notice it as well. Once we are done filing that into shape, we are now going to take our electric file. We are going to, again, use our overgrip position. I'm going to look at the side profile. What I want to be able to do in one direction is pull through my upper arch to make sure that I actually have a nice upper arch, right? Look at that, nice upper arch. I'm going to look down the body of the nail, pull in one direction. I'm not going side to side. It's easy for me to look this way It's easy for me to look this way and look at the zones of my barrel. I'm going to work from zone 1 all the way through zone 2 to zone 3. Zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, all the way through. I'm going to come around the cuticle area in one direction all the way through and then pull through the rest of the nail. I am done. I do not need to overfile the nail. We have questions.
Is it important or necessary to use base, or can they just use a builder directly on the natural?
So Tracy said, is it necessary to use base, or can you use the builder directly on the natural nail? Base is insurance, right? So if you use base, you're going to basically have less problems. Have I had nail technicians who have come to me and said, Greg, I don't use base, I use concealer paint all the way through and I have no problems? I've had that as well. But again, for me, when I'm teaching, I want to ensure, right, when I'm teaching, I want to ensure that you guys have the least amount of problems. Does that mean, right, that you can skip, right, and still have success? That's something that you would have to experiment with to be able to get those. But personally, right, I would rather be insured so that I have the least amount of problems.
What's the best shape to make the finger look longer?
Okay, so again, what's the best shape to make the finger look longer? Probably an almanetto, right, or an almond-shaped nail, which I'm going to cover soon. I'm just going to use my hand file to file through the balance of the nail. One of the things you're going to see, right, once I am done, general rule of thumb, what your hand file is used for, you have to blend not just this area here. You have to blend all the way down and around, all the way from one end to the other. Basically, you want to be able to run your finger around the back end so that you don't have ledges. If you don't have ledges, you don't have a lifting problem. If you have ledges, ledges lead to lifting. Watch this. I'm going to quickly, basically remove the dust from the surface of the nail. Right?
Because the nail looks very thin, will it break?
No, it's not thin, and I'm going to show you guys. The nail, so remember what we were talking about earlier. Look at the C-curve that I actually have on my gel. Does that give you a really good idea, right, on how thick the nail is? Let me turn it on this plot. Let me turn it from the side profile. Look at my look at my arches. When I come all the way around, take a look at how straight the nail is from that point. Take a look at the side, right? It's going to be, and that's the best part, right, about structure. If you build the right structure, you're not going to have any problems at all.
Would you use the same filing technique for a coffin and almanetto?
That is correct. You use the same filing technique with everything that you do. I'm going to show you guys something that's super wicked. Once I'm actually done, right, applying it to the surface of the nail, I'm actually going to take a really nice gel. For those of you guys who work on hairdressers, right, and you guys don't want basically your nails to stain, because basically non-tack gels as well as soft gels will stain with hair color. You can use gloss, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to apply a really nice layer, a thin layer of gloss from cuticle to free edge. All right, from cuticle to free edge. And again, 1 minute in LED, 2 minutes in a UV, and as you can see, I'm going to be able to create that look. All right, so, you know, again, at the end of the day, the most important thing is understanding how to build the right structure. Yes?
If someone wanted to use a polish over the top, what would they do?
Okay, so someone asked if you were going to use a polish over the top, what would you do? Let me go ahead and cure this out for 1 minute, and I'll go ahead and go through the process, and I'm going to explain to you. The most important thing when you're actually doing polish on top of the nail is you first of all, you don't need a base coat. A lot of people, when they're actually doing polish on top. The first mistake that they make is they actually take a, isn't that funny how it glows? When you take a caption base and you put it on top of an enhancement, you basically are adding a step. If I wipe the surface of this, you can see how shiny this is with gloss. If I'm actually working on the surface of this and I'm polishing the nail, let me just go ahead and get basically a matte surface. Right? I don't need to over buff it because I don't want it to chip away, but I do need a matte surface, so I'm just going to lightly texture the surface with a rough buffer, right? I don't want smooth. I want a textured surface. I'm going to use protein bond, right, on the surface of my enhancement. One coat, right, all the way down, making sure that I seal my edges. And if I was going to use, right, and I'm going to go through all 10 nails, but if I was going to use a nail polish, and I will use Look, Don't Touch as a perfect example. This is our black polish. Take a look at the coverage that you're going to have, right? And that's one coat. That's one coat, which is absolutely nuts. That's how you're going to polish the nail, all right? Protein bond, straight to color. Question?
Someone had wanted you to show them a pink and white nail.
So real fast, if we're doing a pink and white nail, I'm going to show you guys, we have less, right? I'm going to show you guys the first thing, if I can get this through in the next 5 minutes. Make sure that when you're doing reverse application, right, take your gel, and what I want you guys to do is focus your attention on not just getting it right down around the cuticle area. Make sure that you have enough gel so that when you actually start working it down to the smile line, look at this, swing, swing, swing. You see I'm swinging the smile line into shape, swing all the way into shape, all right? So again, starting with an overlay. Look at how I'm actually able to swing my smile line into perfection. Once I am done swinging my smile line into perfection, I can do any kind of touch-up I want at the very, very front. Again, if I don't want it to burn, take a look at the distance that I actually have. If I actually keep the light at this distance, probably I'd say 4 to 6 inches above the nail. For those of you guys who do not have an LED with this function, trust me, it is going to save not only time, it's going to save you from that really harsh burning sensation that you all do not like.
Why is protein bond important?
Why is protein bond important? Protein bond is important because it is insurance. So like one of the things I always state is that you don't want problems, right? You don't want lifting. So if you are using protein bond, that is going to eliminate all of your lifting problems. That is why not only my educators, my mentors, but a lot of the really great artists out there that are using young nails, they use it because they don't have problems when they use protein bond. Okay, so notice how this is completely frozen. One of the things that you can do, and I'm going to try to bang this out as fast as I can, I could always take a much smaller bead, and then I could actually push it right up to the edge. See, I'm actually pushing it right up to the edge. Once I'm done doing that, I could actually feather it right up, boom. And what this is going to do, it's going to drop a really nice ledge, and then I can come in and touch it up at the front. But as you can see, one of the most important things when I'm actually working with gels to get reverse application, you see that ledge that I have right here at the side profile? That is really, really important so that your pink and white nails come out razor, razor sharp. And it's not just about doing pink and white nails. If you're doing glitter, if you're doing color, right? In order for you guys to have the least amount of problems with your smile lines, you have to be able to structure your smile line so it's a high enough ledge. Let me go ahead and take the white sculpture out, okay? And I can show you. You have to make sure that when you're using your white gel, the perfect thickness is thin as a dime. For those of you guys who are basically outside the United States, I like to think of it this way, right? Like, you take a look at the handle. You take a look at the handle of your basically toenail clipper. No thicker than that is what you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white. I don't need a lot. I have a little bit too much. I'm just going to wipe that excess off. And watch what I do. I'm actually going to bounce, 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 bounce into the corner and lightly come down the side, getting a nice even touch. Don't have enough. The biggest mistake a lot of professionals make or beginners make, they don't go up to the smile line. Bounce, 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 up into the corner, comes down the side, come down the side, lightly come down the side so that you keep contact with the nail. Again, you don't want to brush it away. If you keep a light contact, it leaves the product in place. Okay, now, what we want to be able to do, I want to ensure that we're going to get a really, really good cure. So, I'm going to use LED. All right? And I'm going to do 2 cycles inside the LED.
Why is protein bond different from other primers?
So, the question is, why is protein bond different than all the primers? Protein bond is one of a kind, not just because of the resins we use, because it was the first bonder that actually created that double-sided sticky tape for everything to bond to. Regular primer contains methacrylic acid. Methacrylic acid was originally designed to dehydrate the surface of the natural nail to prepare it for product application. Again, methacrylic acid is like an 8-track. It's outdated and honestly doesn't need to be used. Protein bond, again, non-corrosive, protein bond, the ultimate insurance.
One last question that we've gotten over and over again about how to stick rhinestones.
So, someone asked how to stick rhinestones on the nail. One of the things that you have to remember, right, and as you can see, this is rock hard all the way through, rock hard all the way through. One of the questions I always get is, can you use a gel? So just remember, if you use a regular gel to try to bond a rhinestone, like let's assume that this is a rhinestone, and if I place it into the gel just like this, everything around the edge is going to bond. But if it has an opaque back, what's underneath is not going to dry, correct? So you have to make sure that you use the right adhesive. There are glues that have a little bit thicker consistency that take a little bit longer to dry, but finding the right adhesive so that you can place the rhinestone in and it sets it, then you can wrap the edges with gel, and that will actually help you secure it. Any other questions?
What preference when it comes to brushes for gel?
So, again, what preferences do I like? There are different sizes, and there are different, like I personally like to use, this is a number 5, between a 5 and a 6 oval Kolinsky. This is natural hair. They have synthetic hair as well, this is like a number 3 size. It's all personal preference. But the smaller the tip, the more control you're going to have in tighter areas. The larger the brush, the more product you're going to be able to grab and use. Last question.
Will there be a question and answer on acrylics?
Yes. This is really exciting because we plan to bring this education to you guys on a monthly basis. The next class that we're actually going to be doing is acrylic, and really looking forward to helping you guys get to the next level. Just remember, if you need gel products, you can get them at an authorized Young Nails distributor, and really looking forward to helping you get to the next level. Have a safe holiday. My love to you and your families. Good luck.